I have an idea. Why not? Why not do we just normalize complimenting everyone? Yesterday, I had some comments on some YouTube videos that were super positive. I had compliments in real life for some of the things that I was involved in. And it ultimately puts you in a good mood when you hear something kind from strangers. So the next time somebody gives you some sort of joy in life, give them a compliment and you will make a whole lot of difference, even if you don't see it right away. It happens behind the screen. Welcome to another edition of XFeed. What's up? My name is Schiller. We go live Monday through Friday talking about collectibles news. And as today's title suggests, we're talking about wrestling. We're talking about Manchester United. We're talking about the 20th anniversary of High School Musical, which we also have the 50th for the Toronto Blue Jays, the 25th for RuneScape. We have 75 for Topps baseball cards. It's just honestly, the 2026 as a whole feels just unreal in terms of anniversaries, and I feel like I'm going to bring that up every single time on stream because something new happens. Take a look at this. So this is a super interesting account. It's called Wrestling Card Price Guide. We're going to look at their site in a second, but a 1989 slabbed Andre the Giant index card sold last month for $8,000. His signature remains one of the most sought after in all of wrestling cards. And just these small things with signatures. We looked at the Allen Ginter where Babe Ruth just has a bunch of flat paper signatures that are getting added to cards. We've gone over some of the board game cards of sorts over the past little bit. None of them had any signatures to it, but Andre the Giant, apparently if you can find one of his signatures, and especially in a graded slab, oh baby, you are looking at some good. So again, this is the account that it is, card_guide if you're on X, but they have every year listed for wrestling, which is ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. And then they also have a breakdown of the latest set. So I've also realized that there's a lot of people and friends that I'm with, like in person, that are still super, super into wrestling. I feel like I didn't really keep up with it after a certain time. I was really into it when I was younger. But if you're wanting to keep up to date with what's going on that front, well, there you go. But if we go all the way back to 1887, there is one topic and one and one set of cards, the 1887 Allen and Ginter tobacco cards. We did a little bit of a bit on I want to say it was like Coaster Bread. That was a very similar situation where instead of like tobacco cards, it was a bread store. They created a set of cards, and I think recently like a full set of those went all the way up for like $200,000, which is crazy. But then I guess for these ones, if you're able to find them back from 1887, $100, and there's like what, 10 only 10 different cards that are associated with it. So very, very minimal to an extent. But Lionsgate is developing a TV series about the history of Manchester United. So anytime we see a headline, of course, the first thing we do is say, what does it look like in terms of collectibles for Manchester United? Well, here's an example. What's going on, buddy? The 1973-74 program set. So do you ever go to sporting events and they sell the programs? I remember going to ones when I was a kid and they were like $5 a pop. And I was like, these are great. I love it. And it was probably just filled with like ads, a little bit of insights on the players, but it was a keepsake of sorts. $35 for a group of 24 of these ones. They probably paid more for it back in the day. But we continue on. What else exists out there for Manchester United? Well, what does the current store look like? Obviously, going over quickly to Memorabilia, where they have a couple of figurines, where $14, not too shabby. But I kind of expected in the Memorabilia section that there would be a lot more. And you can see these bottom ones here where it's just, again, these jerseys, figures of sorts on a statue. Great. The cards, as always. And this looks like it's the most expensive thing. The Manchester United Soccer Stars team pack figurine set, $135. I had one of these like variants of Lord of the Rings characters back in the day, and that was cool. But looking at these, it does feel like this is something in theory, if the image will ever load, that would be something to hold on to for a while and appreciate. And I want you to think for just a half second. When was the last time that you became obsessed with something, right? I would say when I was younger, or not that much younger, but enough, right? Teenage years. I came across European soccer and the English Premier League team. I remember I originally thought like Liverpool was a really like weird and like almost gross name, not realizing that it was a place. As odd as that sounds, but then watching this league and the fans excited, and I was like, wow, there is a huge league out here for this. And there was a channel called Setanta Sports. Setanta. I need to look it up. I don't think it exists anymore, but it's something on the TV package that if you paid like an extra like $20, $30, whatever a month, you got rugby, you got soccer. And I remember just waking up, and it was one of the few times that I was like, I'm excited to wake up early and watch some of the live games from down there. And at the time, I was following Chelsea FC, and that was also amongst the time when they were super, super successful. So it's sort of funny that we're doing like a Manchester United bit on this front, but I remember being absolutely obsessed with it, thinking, okay, how do I get the jerseys? How do I get all of this? And you think, how often does that happen to other people where they come across something new and become absolutely obsessed with it, where they really want to, get everything they can get their hands on that front? But we can't be remiss if we leave out the fact that they actually got into digital collectibles. We saw a ton of brands try to do something within the space. We had Starbucks that did like an Odyssey program that was connected to blockchain rewards of sorts and in-person goodies. We had Pepsi that tried to do a Pepsi stand mic drop, which was like kind of hyped up for a little bit. I think Budweiser tried to do something as well, but you can lump in Manchester United a part of that. And they launched on Tezos, which was a jersey sponsor, if you've watched the league at all. So kind of apropos on that front. But when you look at these, do you think, all right, this is associated in some way or another to the Manchester United brand? Is it a good thing maybe that it is something that's a little bit different, but still supposed to, be a signature, if you will? A lot of people like using these things as avatars across their social media profiles, and I think that this does have like a distinct look. However, I would make the argument that it is like maybe not as clear or bold facing or structured as we've seen some of the more notable digital collectibles that are just naturally born from the Web3 realm. But the lowest price here, and this is in Tezos, so we might have to go check it out on a different way, but 35 Tezos. Sorry, it's a little bit off the screen there, but $20 for the cheapest Manchester United digital collectible. Do we like? Do we not like? Things you never... Oh, and actually, I didn't even realize that. So they do have the logo kind of imprinted within the back part of it. So it is more branded than I initially gave credit to. And this was the announcement when they did this partnership. It was back in November 14th of 22. Manchester United Football Club announces the first digital collectibles in partnership with Tezos. According to the club, the digital collectibles represent a major step towards a new fan-led virtual community. And at a point, I think there was a ton, I want to say the platform was called like Chili's, where there was a bunch of soccer teams, I want to say that we're mainly like in Serie A, the Italian league, that had tokens. And I don't remember if they were hey, buy these tokens and then vote on what player we should get, because we saw that with WAGMI United, which was sort of like a blockchain-based only conglomerate of sorts for Crawley Town, which was like a third division team or something. But there's been a lot of like weird connections to the digital space. Much like the football traditions of old, such as collecting match programs, funny enough, we just looked at, club badges and sticker books, fans will soon have the additional option to collect this new type of digital memorabilia. The first digital collectible is being gifted to fans by a Tezos-powered platform, and with the support of Tezos Foundation, we will join fans on their journey into this new world, with the club providing education and guidance along the way. Which was from Phil Lynch, their CEO of Digital Products and Experiences. There's very few people that I feel like I know that are on Tezos of some sorts. I interviewed Arthur Brightman, I believe was his name, and he was doing a what was it called? It was a uranium-based token. And so it was like, whatever the uranium symbol is, like 402, I believe. And he was like the co-founder of Tezos. I'm interviewing him, and I'm like, this is bonkers. And this was a couple months ago on the RWA Segments podcast. Again, the link will be down in the description below for that. But it's like, that's kind of cool. And again, a lot of people are using other blockchains that aren't Tezos, but Manchester United having that sponsor, thinking of Inter Miami, where they had Polkadot on their training kit as a sponsor. Do we see really any sort of crypto type sponsorships for the leagues as a whole? So manunited.com/collectibles, enter a new world of rewards. Club memorabilia is evolving, powered by Tezos. So this is their page. I guess we'll take a look at what the video is.
It's the stories that make United, and this is one of the greatest ever written. Heading into the 1992-93 season, the first of the Premier League era, Manchester United was seeking a first league title in 26 years. And yet, early season signs suggested anything but glory. In late November, United was 7th, 5 points adrift of leaders Blackburn. But fortunes were about to change dramatically. The King arrived. Described by Sir Alex Ferguson as the final piece in the jigsaw. Eric Cantona galvanised the Reds instantly. The drama had just started. Fast forward to Boxing Day. Sheffield Wednesday away. United 3-0 down with 30 minutes to go. Step forward Brian McClare. Not once, but twice. And then Cantona. The comeback of all comebacks. At Anfield, United's number one, Peter Schmeichel, showed what he was made of with the save of the season in a vital 2-1 win. United were on a roll. But then, a shock home defeat to Oldham, followed by 3 straight draws. Was another title slipping away? Not a bit of it. High-flying Norwich were dispatched at Carrow Road in a ruthless 21-minute opening. Goals from Giggs, Kinchelsis and Cantona. Game over. And then, one of the most iconic moments in this club's history was forged. Sheffield Wednesday again, this time at Old Trafford. And then, 96 minutes, 1-1. Pallister crosses, Bruce rises, Hugh Bedlam. Unforgettable. The story wasn't finished. Enter Mark Hughes. At Crystal Palace, deep breath, foot back, thump, a sensational volley. When Villa lost to Oldham, United were confirmed as champions without kicking a ball. The following evening, Manchester turned red. Goals from Giggs, Ince, and that free kick from Gary Pallister saw off Blackburn. Steve Bruce and Captain Marvel himself, Brian Robson, lifted the trophy to end the 26-year wait. And Manchester United were just getting started.
Okay, so initially I was like, what? Like, are we going to get to the point of like what this is? But yeah, so celebrate United's title-winning 92-93 season with officially licensed digital collectibles. So of all things, going back to that championship way back when, to find out more. I mean, it says to go to this collectible site to find out more, but like, are we literally not on that right now? Oh, here, okay, maybe discover unique experiences. This looks like this is just all more recent news of sorts. Wanted to see where these collectibles are. So they have new artwork, digital collectibles, why, what, how. Okay, own a piece of the story. NFT collectible museum. Okay. Learn the language of Web3. Before you register for the club's official digital collectibles, take a moment to learn some of the lingo. Okay. This is turning into quite the affair. Let's see. So Stanley Chow, artist on the 92-93 Art and Life as a Red. So this is just like a quick little interview. I'm curious like what these things cost, right? Like does it say, because it's got a whole like another article that's highlighting that digital collectibles, why, what, how. As a club, Manchester United are always looking at ways to how to improve fans' experiences, whether it's adding more safe standing areas in Old Trafford or giving fans a first-team feeling in the new 23-24 kit. Yeah, we're getting a museum, hell yeah. Finding ways to bring more excitement, passion, and connection to your club is at the heart of what we do, and one such way is digital collectibles. Sounds like a foreign language. Here's a simpler way of looking at it. Blockchains tell you who owns a digital item, like art or memorabilia, who made it, who owned it before. So it's trackable. You can prove how many of them were created to begin with, so it's unique, and no one can trick you into thinking yours is fake. Once information is on the blockchain, it cannot be tampered with, and every action is forever traceable. So on a side tangent for like half a second here, the parent company of PSA, Beckett, STC, a bunch of the card grading companies, the other day, the president of grading was on a podcast, and they talked, and one of the first things they mentioned was the fact that there is a counterfeit problem, and that's one of the reasons initially when we started covering around digital collectibles and stuff was like, hey, you know what? If you want to go out and collect these things, production of whatever is getting so good that a lot of the times you can't tell if it's fake. And especially in the trading card realm, that one, again, it's prints. If people are able to master it, well, things get very, very close, and it's a little bit harder to distinguish, where blockchain kind of prevents that from happening. You can find more guides to blockchain here, but why should you care? Okay, why should we care? This is what we're asking. Beyond memorabilia, what else can this new technology do for fans? Well, it can bring together people from around the world to experience something as a community of global Reds, spoken like a true NFT project. And plenty of these moments have already been made possible by United and the club's official blockchain partner, Tezos. Last week, Manchester United and Tezos released a new series of digital collectibles, each inspired by the club's iconic 92-93 season. The collection features rare behind-the-scenes photos from the 3rd of May 1993. The night legends like Brian Robson and Steve Bruce lifted United's first ever Premier League trophy. And by using blockchain tech, each collectible guarantees rewards for holders, including limited edition prints from acclaimed artist Stanley Chow, signed by legends from the 1993 team. But they also unlock experiences with digital collectibles acting like a ticket to unique events in the blockchain, verifying that the ticket is genuine. So I am like trying to still find what these are, how much they cost. Like, so when did this article come out? This came out in 23. So this was not recently, for clarification. But what does these things look like? And that's the exact same article again. Learn the language of Web3. Okay, we'll go and look for what these are in a second if we can. But let's see the language. So this was posted on November 24th of 22. So take yourself back to then. And they even say good morning. In the opening, GM Reds. Manchester United has spent the past century defining football for fans around the world. With their first range of digital collectibles, our community will help us create the next one using the power of Web3. So acronyms and initialisms. DYOR. Oh, this is... oh, baby. Stands for do your own research. Football coaches would never go into a game without scouting the opposition. Similarly, no one should own or trade digital collectibles before carrying out their own due diligence. And what's great about this is even if you do your own due diligence, it can still end up horrible. GM stands for good morning, a popular greeting in Web3 circles that the people say at the start of the day. GN stands for good night. People use this to say goodbye at the end of the day. Like, these are just like normal things. Like DYOR, okay. But GM and good night. Like, anybody that texts a fair bit should probably know what those are. And I don't know if those are like classified as like Web3 terms. GMMU, never heard of that in my life. Good morning, Man United. Okay, this term is quickly catching on among United's Web3 community on Discord. It's a play on words of GGMU, glory, glory, Man United. GM stands for good morning in the big 2026. Soonsie, you are, listen, gold stuff. You ever seen School of Rock? And then Dewey Finn looks on the wall and he notices that a couple of them have like the black spots. He's like, what are these? Like, demerits, and then he rips it off, and then Summer has like a heart attack. Great movie. WAGMI or WGMI, we're gonna make it. Community members use this term to encourage each other. For example, United fans could say it at the start of a Premier League season or when we're up 2-1 up in the 90th minute. So slang, when without the H, a deliberate misspelling of when. People often start a question about a project's prospects with when, like when Premier League. This would mean when will United win the Premier League? Diamond hands. These are people who hold digital collectibles through the bad times because they believe in this in the project, similar to football fans who stick by their team through rough patches. Probably nothing. This is a jokey term in online circles, and people use it to ironically downplay a significant event. Downplay a significant event. Yeah, I guess so. Some might say probably nothing, but United just had their best start to the Premier League season in 11 years. Yep, okay. Wrecked. This is a phenomenal article, but still, I would love to see somebody's reaction that is like not familiar with any of this from like a normal person perspective. Deliberate misspelling of wrecked. This is when a person loses lots of money through a bad trade or investment. It means their funds are wiped out, like when the football club goes into administration. To the moon. This is Web3 speak for saying that a project or a token price is going to keep going up and up and up. Example with Eric Ten Hag in charge at Manchester United, we're going to the moon. Digital wallet, public key, private key, rug pulls, fishing, collectibles, one of one, traits, PFP, mint, floor price. The lowest market price for a collectible item selling at floor price are often those with the least valuable traits or those that the holder wants to sell quickly. And then there's blockchain, nodes, cryptocurrency, gas, smart contract. And then they have a whole article of digital collectibles explained, which is very cool, but where in the hell can we find these things? So if we go to the store, membership, accessories, match day, like maybe they don't have that stuff anymore. They have an app, partners, United Academy, history. Let me, Manchester United Digital Collectibles Marketplace. I just typed that in. Oh, does it come up on OBJK? So there's like a side site that shows those devil characters that we looked at a little bit earlier. I'm just trying to find. If I hit start my journey, like do they just hide them? Because I feel like you're. Like, all this stuff is just related to their men's or women's team. I don't see anything for collectibles. They might have hidden the entire thing. Well, welcome to Digital Collectibles in 2026. Own a piece of this. Okay, visit to find out more about the rewards. Then you can create your free digital wallet. Okay. Take the next step on your digital journey. The club's first digital. Didn't we just read this? Collectibles.Man United. Yeah, so okay, so they got rid of it. They literally got rid of it because that link that was supposed to go to like Manchester United Collectibles or whatever just takes you to manchesterunited.com, and then it's like the top says medium article campaign equals collectibles, take the next step. And then clearly like none of that is here. So I guess they're like casually trying to just hide that it doesn't exist anymore. That is going to be an elimination. True. So the more you know, Manchester United put in all that effort. They launched different collectibles, and then they basically hid everything about it. That's what I call tough. That's what I call tough. And Bart Johnson, this is Troy Bolton's dad in High School Musical, commenting on this. You'd think they'd have more than 10,000 followers. That's not the case. But either way, 20 years in the making for Troy Bolton to hang his Wildcat jersey up. So this was a big anniversary. If you're a fan of High School Musical in general, I tried to go around and find out, all right, what does it look like for some of the collectibles from the hit series? They have a Zac Efron signed autograph for $726 if interested. And there's more Zac Efron ones on there. There is a side poster. There's really not a whole lot. Wow. I kind of thought that there was going to be something on this site. Looked interesting, but there there is a total of 11 items. But then if you go over and look at like an actual marketplace of sorts, there is a ton of just random things from way back in the day. Action figures, the musical radio writer, 2006 Disney collector item rare, which is a pen and radio in one. Now that's the things we like to see. The High School Musical DVD board game, 2008 doll. They have the purse and water bottle. It's crazy looking back at these things and thinking like, yeah, they were probably like mass sellers, like this book. I remember going to dollar stores back in the day, and even somewhat recently where they had branded ones, whether it be like some kind of NBA team or like a notebook of some sorts, and that was always a big deal as a kid, picking out which ones that you want. So I can imagine that one sold for a hell of a lot. Disney High School Musical electronic handheld game, Zizzle. Didn't know that one even existed. Somebody has a megaphone for 16 bucks. I don't know. When you look at these things, it's like, I mean, if you're a fan of the show, it's kind of cool. But I don't know in terms of like resale value, how often things regarding High School Musical fly. And so those were some of the retro type of deals. But of course, with the fact that everybody's jumping on the collectibles trend, they launched some new ones. So they have these Troy and Gabriella dolls. They have a Troy Bolton and Gabriella Montez 20th anniversary. Wait, hold on. That's exactly what we just looked at. Are they different? No, they're the same thing. So they literally put the same ad twice. Okay, that's a red card. High School Musical original TV soundtrack limited edition vinyl. We've talked about how a lot of people are getting into vinyl, even if they don't have a vinyl player, just for the display aspect. The Wildcats adult sweater, and then a musical piano, vocal, and guitar book. The more you know on that front. So on stream the other day, we crashed out a little bit, being like, all right, for all these big players, you see somebody pull a one of one and you think, that's kind of cool. But then you realize that there are a ton of one of ones. And as an example, where people are also dogging on breakers because they seem to be pulling all of the good cards, after pulling Cooper's Flags Topps Chrome Super Refractor one of one rookie auto, We the Hobby has also pulled Flags Image Variation one of one Super Refractor rookie. I don't know. It's completely changed my look on one of ones of sorts. And then this is an old one, but Kevin Garnett was a part of Lego Sports release. Simple, easy character, Lego, great. So then I thought, let's try to look and see what Lego Sports has nowadays. And right off the rip, it says Adults Welcome. Pokemon and Lego, their most recent release. We went over their commercial, and the entire bit was basically focused on adults. And at the end, they had a guy that turned his cap, and it was like trying to be the ass ketchum thing. It's a little bit cringe, but hey, you know what? 2026, you do you. So it is just funny when you look at these things that it's like now really geared towards the adult side of things. So what do they have on here? For entertainment, art and design, travel and history, Star Wars is just straight up its own category. Games, science and tech, nature and animals, and then vehicles. So let's look at nature and animals, entertainment. We came in here looking for sports, but they have this listed as sports and games. So Dungeons and Dragons, Legend of Zelda, 5 best soccer gifts. Okay, that one sounds kind of interesting. Formula One, you go down, they have a Game Boy set. Okay, so this is what's bonkers about like everything. So back in like the 1990s, you could buy a Nintendo Game Boy for $50. In 2026, you can buy a stationary Lego figure that doesn't do anything of Game Boy for $80. Inflation is unbelievable. Unbelievable. Kicking off new Lego football sets just in time for the World Cup, I might add. Is there anything on here? What the hell's going on? What? We clicked on the link, and then there's nothing about it. Okay, so if we pre-order it, all right, how much are we talking? Sound like a mouse. I sound like a mouse because I am scurrying for food because we are only getting little crumbs today because we can't afford anything. $250. Oh my goodness. It almost looks like, oh, okay. So I'm pretty shocked to see that there's just like a character, like the whole thing just pops out, which is hilarious. And you'll have a character that's just wearing a blue hoodie with the trophy. I wasn't expecting that. All right. Maybe 250 is not bad for just the jokes around it, but this is a video. Back on the Game Boy. No, we're going to keep looking here. Lego sets for adults. We're back on that. Okay, so their links like didn't lead to anything. Okay, if we go to games, what do we have on that front? It just leads to the exact same page. No matter what you click, it doesn't even give you a breakdown. All right, Lego, they don't tweet. They didn't update their site. We gotta work on a lot of things if we are Lego. Amongst the anniversaries that we've talked about, Toronto Blue Jays hitting their 50th season in which they will have these commemorative retro patches, and we've seen teams every single year, whether it be a sponsor, whether it be a commemoration of somebody that was a part of a team for a while having initials associated with it, or everything under the sun. The 50th season logo contains the club's original split font, which has shown up throughout the 5 decades. The fan favorite 1977 bird head, including the vintage maple leaf, were part of the original Blue Jays primary logo. And for the colors, the color palette includes royal blue, vintage turquoise, and modern red, representing shades from the club's past and present, connecting old and new. The gold outline symbolizes the significant 50th milestone. Well, that's kind of neat on that front. And continuing with the baseball theme, did you know that for the gold glove, you can, like, it comes off the trophy and you can like legitimately wear it? So then I was going through the comments, trying to look up some different stuff. And it was funny as hell because there was questions of people that were like, all right, so if a player isn't signed with Rawlings, which I guess is like the sponsor, creator of the glove, whatever, do they have one that is made from their specific signee, manufacturer? They're like, no, it's just all Rawlings. There's your random extra tidbit, but I didn't know that the gold glove was like straight up just like an actual gold glove on that point. But that's going to be it for this edition of XFeed. Hoonsy, I appreciate you coming on through, and obviously the chat is super bonkers whenever I switch back to this, and you see everything that he's saying on there. But guys, I appreciate you so much. Again, you'll find the RWA Segments podcast link down below if you're wanting to have a little bit of a different perspective, have some interviews with people that are doing a whole bunch within the tokenized realm, and we went through Manchester United, of all things, complained about the Lego site. We looked at High School Musical, and we looked at wrestling cards that are super expensive from Andre the Giant. Unreal. Thanks for coming on through. I'll catch you guys tomorrow. Peace.